Hello, Friday Night Warriors. Happy little Saturday. That is the term I have for when I was a blackjack dealer during my education time in Sweden. I got in when I was 17. I lied, wasn't legal. And that was kind of my occupation for a few years during school and then after. And I was working night shifts Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. And I remember after each time night shift, I went straight to the gym to do cardio with all my good intention, and then just to blow it all on, eat everything in sight. Where I went to the grocery store and bought granola, fatty yogurt, jam, uh, cereal. No, I didn't do cereal. But cakes and cookies and chocolate and ice cream, tons. And then I fell asleep, and then I woke up. Then I ate more, and then I had to nap because the blood sugar crash or a spike. And then I thought, oh, I'm not gonna have it again. Oh, so much. I'm never gonna do this. Just to wake up an hour later with an appetite for more ice cream. And if I didn't learn my lesson and wanted to learn, if I just wanted to be kind of playing all my life, I would be part of the obesity epidemic. It's like 65 to 70% are overweight or obese in all countries that have been influenced by American way of eating and sedentary life. So my sabotage here. It's time to talk about the thing that you don't want to know about yourself, and what you don't know you cannot master. Self-sabotage is when you keep on committing to what you need to do for your happiness and health, be it that you need to or have ambitions. Let's say it might be just that you need to be healthy or you're gonna die prematurely or most likely not live long. And if you have kids and want to see your grandkids, that might be in your interest. It's not, if you keep on playing the card that everyone else is more important, which is typical for women, you're gonna use your family as a scapegoat for not staying strong on your goals when it comes to fitness and health, eating properly, taking care of your body. Do what you need to do to lead your family, because you're gonna influence your kids. They're not gonna eat like you, they're gonna have the rebellion, but they're gonna remember what mom did, how she was strong, how she did this or that. That's what they're gonna remember. You can definitely think about being motivated to make an impact in your children's and your family's lives by simply just taking all the complaints and criticism that you are sticking to your healthy routine, which is not a prison. It's a stupid way of people perceiving what is privilege, to have the awareness that you need to think for health, not just eat with your mind. Self-sabotage is, remember when you grew up, or maybe you didn't, but typically we say that you don't hang with the wrong crowd. And I remember when I grew up in fitness culture, that the gym crowd was that kind of, some people were not the crowd I hang with. Well, I wasn't really hanging, but the people at the gym were the ones I learned from, so that is the community. The gym, and then loner on my time alone. Well, you get what am I saying? But my point is that I wasn't socializing on other times. I wasn't hanging out with friends. I was focused on what I did, and the gym was where the people were. Go in and gym, train, and then leave. So if you hang out with a crowd who is living the lifestyle that you don't want to be part of, but you keep on being addicted or drawn, because temptation is there. Don't get it wrong. There is no victim thing about everything is delicious and we want it. That's no news. But that's fair and square for everyone. There is no such thing as it can only be if you have a problem with sweet tooth, that's it. Or only salty things. Or there are so many ways to make yourself never achieve all you want, because you will never lose the constant flow of incoming reasons for you to skip everything, because it's going to take too much work, too long time, and you don't have time to wait for results. So that means you're never going to get it. Self-sabotage is to keep on listening to destructive messages that make you feel that you need to punish yourself, that you should be better, and everything is negative. Like, you don't reward yourself for doing good, only punish. So if you're not doing what you want to be doing good enough, now you are the problem. You can't stand this. But before you just adjust, hear yourself sabotage with what is it going on? Usually the big eat everything and start over. Some people call it refeed. I don't, because that is not how you actually use the structure of refeed, which is all for body composition, performance, health. And then it just happens to be so that when you do feel happy and lean and strong and you take care of your body, your whole awareness shifts higher. So all of a sudden you don't want what you used to love. It's no different than you tend to date the kind of person that you feel that you're worth or is your level. But when you change how you perceive yourself, you don't consider yourself a trash can body with not any talent and not any strength. When you change how you rate yourself and not ask the world, you're gonna change in what you want to eat to fuel this amazing life and body. So naturally, by living the lifestyle where other people are into it, you're gonna be more likely naturally to keep doing what that crowd is doing. Because that is how society and our cultures, civilizations operate. And that is why you have a challenge, because if you don't have a community where you need to practice the skills of fitness life, you are sabotaging yourself, because you're not giving yourself a place, an arena where that is what we do. And that is typically when you want to kind of be stronger than you are and you have never thought about going back in your track record. Make a little kind of analysis of, are you talking the same thing every year in a season? It's like you are, what do you say, when you can, when you know every move someone is gonna play because they do it the same over and over. That is how it is to analyze all my clients. I'm saying that there's a lot of people in training and fitness who don't even know what they're dreaming about or what they are missing, because they never wanted to ask themselves, what is it that I really want? Self-sabotage is to not want to accept that wanting is not enough. Because you're not gonna want, just like me, not gonna want to work, not gonna want to do cardio, you're not gonna want to eat properly, you're not gonna want to do pogo. You're gonna have so many fights with yourself before you have come to that, well, I know I have to do this, there's no question. But before you have come to that epiphany, you might never get there if you not want to. It's like meditation. It's funny, they say, well, you can pray for having, to be meditating, or pray to be getting a quiet mind, but it doesn't matter if you pray, you have to work for it. And there's nothing you can expect. You cannot speed it up, you cannot rush it, you can't just do it. And then, no, it's not always to be in understanding what you're doing, you have to still be in it. And that's when you have to stop thinking and breaking down every reason why you're not going to succeed, because that's self-sabotage, and we're going to have the arguments. First, you think you're too old. Well, that's a blessing that you are here alive. There is no option to go backwards. Two, you can't live in the past. So whatever you say that you used to train this way, now you can't. So you cannot do anything. That is just lack of awareness, a lack of wanting to learn. You're stuck in the past. You don't want to change. It's easier to hold on to old like achievements, but you're not getting happy from them. I mean, are you gonna live a life with a photo of you when you once were in shape and that was like a one-hit wonder? Self-sabotage is to believe your own bullshit over and over and over because you finally figured out that you gotta get over yourself. Like now all of a sudden you wake up from, usually this is what it is. You go for a last cheat day and you don't want to be honest, so you're gonna pretend it didn't happen or was much less. Now you're like super artificially more motivated to get back on track because you feel guilty because you just sabotaged. You just spent your whole day probably fatten up in calories over the next days. That now it's going to take weeks for you to kind of just work off that. Self sabotage is to keep on looking at the scale, as that is where you're going to find all the information about what you're doing and how it's going. The problem there is that you're sabotaging because every time you can't help yourself from checking your scale. If you are unlucky, it's going to show you what you don't want to see. Or it might be that you're lucky, so it's unusually positive, optimistic. Maybe you had diarrhea and the shits and you didn't pobo. You had a water fasting day to kind of manipulate the scale. So here you go, now you're happy. The next moment now, you're going to have the other way. Because when you manipulate one way, the whole kind of boomerang effect is coming your way. So self-sabotage is when you keep on having the same goal. And it's like you don't even want to discuss it. And any moment people ask, so what is the plan? It's like, no, no, you don't want to do it because you are not really planning. You know, because deep down, you know, why do that when you're not even doing it for enough time? Self-sabotage is to refuse to accept that you too have to work long time, patiently, without stopping it. How would it work for me if I wanted to come to America, but every other day in Sweden, I kind of just put myself on a ticket to Germany, so I don't have any money to even put on a ticket? How the heck am I gonna get to America? I'm not even doing the plan. I'm going the other direction. Self-sabotage is to not looking at calorie content and food serving and how much food is what on fighter diet because you want to be free and not count. But that's because you might just want to play this, that all of a sudden it's just going to happen for you. It's just going to fall into your hands to know what to do and be powerful. Well, that's a big utopia. It's not going to happen. If it was, you can just want to, then you would be there. So case in point. Self-sabotage is any moment then that you step on the scale and let's say, like yesterday, I was unusually light. Didn't look it, had a great lean body day, but do you think I just went, oh, I lost so much weight overnight. Oh, I'm going to be scrawny. I have to refeed. I have to eat up because it takes very little to kind of just pump up the glycogen in the muscles and the liver. And when you're not in a surplus, you have a sponge effect in your body. So it's going to just pump up more and then kind of look depleted when you need to. So when you get lean, you're just going to know and learn that you're going to have to fuel up a lot of times, even though you, in your idealistic mindset, don't think that you should deserve to have fuel. But that is another thing we have to just kind of, have to bite that one too another day. There's so much that you're holding on to that you're addicted to the destruction and negativity because you want to punish yourself for whatever you're not doing right enough. And I think it's just not how you're gonna be motivated to work if you're always gonna hear how you're never good enough. That is not working for me. Like, I have always been great at motivating myself, pep talking myself. I've also been great at doing the opposite, kill myself and deny and destroy. But that is the more you can kind of beat yourself up, the more you can also elevate yourself. But I just got out of that thinking that, well, the only one who is getting never feeling happy already, always, but what if this doesn't last? That was me. And that's this thing of wanting it to last forever. But pause first. Commercial. No, just kidding. Self-sabotage is really about changing the plan when anytime there's a weather change. It's like when it starts raining, oh, you don't know what to do, so you just put a big sun hat on. I mean, that works, but when you do that, if I were to go by the scale, it would be the same as when you stop working because the scale shoots up or goes down. Like whatever the scale does has to be evaluated by what led up to that. So when I have an unusual lightweight day, I usually know it's one of the things I had an unusual amount of weight of the food volume, so 5 pounds vegetables versus 1 pound raw spinach, It might be different salt intake. It might be hormonal changes of stress or whatever it is. It's not going to be a reason for me to change my plan. Because let's just assume now that I would still have a big cheat day. Well, that would be the cause of the sudden influx on the scale, like increase. But it might not happen because I can still exceed my calorie budget by eating small volume that will not show up on the scale. So that's what I mean, that you can sabotage by your desire to kind of fight me on quality food. You want to play the devil's advocate. You think it's cool and kind of smart, and you want to fit in the herd who all say I can get away with it, or like if it fits my macros, whatever bull. And it has never made anyone succeed long term. Look at everyone doing it. Why do you see people starting over? If it's so fantastic to just count your macros and know what it is and calculate and go by the day, why don't you see people who do that like me? Now, I'm going to say that there's a lot of people in the world who are coaches who are consistent in lifestyle and have absolutely not this tendency. But they tend to be the one who never had the problem in the first time. It's like they never had an addiction or behavior problem. So, of course, it's easy to be wanting to choose what is easy because that's your nature. That's what you do. So you have to know that when you're not used to or accustomed to a certain way of living, you have to accept that this is what you're going to practice in order to have the body that is the only way by living the lifestyle. And it's not like the body is going to be one size also, so that's another one. Self-sabotage is to refuse to listen and hear. You set your own ideals for how much you want to train, how hard, what kind, why. There is no such thing as a collective list of this is what you have to do in order to be a fitness person or whatever. But the more what you choose to do in your life is of that kind, the kind we do in fitness. Stretching, recipes, healthy cooking, interest in health, blood pressure, arthritis, holiday festivities. How do you stay strong around people during the holiday season? Like all that stuff, that is your interest when you are into fitness. But if you don't want to and you only see that you go back to looking at regular food porn, you still keep on daydreaming about how you're gonna have your little indulgences. That is a really good way to excite you, but not if it's all about imagine only looking at cocaine. And I'm like, I don't want to keep doing cocaine. I would be most likely to go for it because that's what I'm planting the seed to go for in my mind. So when you never you might have your kryptonite or your cravings, you look at all the photos, the typical thing we do about the daydreaming. But I've learned that it's so easy to believe you keep on conditioning yourself, you're going to have it, or you're going to make the mistake of, I can't have it. You're going to negatively say, you are not allowed, you can't have it. Well, that's how you're never going to get that fantasy out of your mind. You're going to chase it forever. The way to kind of get lean is definitely not to kind of try to be strong around this kryptonite. It's too hard. First, you have to even remember how to actually stay in nutrition mode, not just diet mode. There's a difference. When you sabotage yourself by wanting to have your whole diet being junk, that you want everything to be a wrapper and a chocolate chip cookie and a protein shake. You want everything to look like you have, like, definitely not healthy, man-made, and you like it because it doesn't upset your stomach, which you forget is natural. Upset stomach is when you don't eat nutritious food, so your body doesn't have any enzymes, it doesn't process it properly. But that is not your body's fault. That's you are not giving the kind of fuel. It's like when parents to pets are giving them too much and not saying no. Why? That's why cats are fat. And here come all the parents to them. Oh, I don't know what he's doing. Like, why he's not getting that much food? Like, yeah, but your perception of his size is like yours. So you have the same weight problem, but he can't stop himself. He's an animal. He doesn't know that, hey, I know I want to eat this, but if I do, I'm gonna increase my cholesterol, and that's not gonna be good for my heart. He doesn't think like that. He doesn't know he's gonna die. So it doesn't matter. But we know, and we also know that time runs out, and in order to make enough changes that you then can kind of hold on to, imagine that this is an investment in your life. I'm thinking about that every day for me, that I don't have a bed, I live minimalist style, and every day I kind of deadlift my futon, or whatever you call that, like a mattress. And I couldn't do that safely if I hadn't changed my training. And I couldn't do it. I rely on my body to go from lying down to standing. With my shoulders shot, and the thumbs, it's like everything just takes longer time. But that doesn't mean that I'm not happy. I mean, I have never been happier than I am today, because there is nothing of this old struggle that makes me go back into self-destruction. There's no community that calls my name about it. I don't have any interest in having people around who don't practice life the way I do. I mean, my everything I do outside of work is my own work, my own self practice. Meditate and, well, everything alone does, that's what I love to do. Except for I don't eat junk in private. One of the things I love to do that I called was a loner was eating junk and then nobody knows. And then I was embarrassed to go to the gym because I was fatter. I knew everyone could see it, and I too couldn't fit the pants. So usually I started with a little bit of dieting before I went and showed myself in the gym. Yeah. Now, you might believe that I have never been what you are, but that is just because you want it to be that I'm special, and I'm not. I just wanted to win. I didn't want to play my whole life like a victim that I could never know. When all I have here is myself, and I am the only one who can change myself. But if I wouldn't even want to look for the tools, and I just kept on being blind, and that would be never achieving it. And that's the most terrifying thing in my life, that somehow I would just forget that if I don't work for myself, I'm not gonna have what I want, and I'm not gonna have what I love. And then how I'm gonna just feel like, why didn't I hold on? Because it's never gonna last to be tough forever. The struggle goes in cycles, just like ups and downs of everything in life. You don't see the sun stay up all the day, but you expect it comes the next. That is how you have to think about motivation and fitness. But the most important thing is to stop sabotaging yourself about count the days. With my clients, I'm building up the endurance with days in a row of compliance without a sudden increase of calories or not training or whatever it is that breaks the whole process. In order to have a butterfly effect, you have to believe that you cannot go and try to look too fast at what is your body. Do you look leaner? Are you lighter? Like, start thinking about, am I doing the right stuff that is going to lead me to get results, then you have to trust that, and then you have to have more patience that it's not going to be 6 days and then you're there. But that is the first routine, is to start practicing one day. I mean, it's one meal first, but one day and then 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. You build up your own routine, but unfortunately, when you want to get leaner, the days of discipline has to be way more than the we're gonna celebrate to eat for just for flavor or to refuel. Working with clients sometimes is like a little bit of when you don't know what you actually want the most. So there's the conundrum of you want to get lean, you love how it feels when you're lean, you love when you're taking care of yourself, you love everything, but when you're not doing it, you feel tired and exhausted, and then you wonder why. Well, I would definitely feel exhausted if I kept on shooting myself in the foot. It gets exhausting because you are working really hard and then you're not getting rewarded because you have to compensate. You have to stop. You can't enjoy. And then here comes another problem, is that everyone wants it to be easy to maintain. So when you are tired and don't want to work on fat loss or getting leaner, even though that was your goal, now you're tired, you don't want to do it. I don't see people kind of hold on and maintain the results, the fat loss. No, everyone regains. So what is the maintaining problem? It takes so little to maintain, and it's so easy to regain. And what you can spend months of working off diligently can be regained in a one day if you're really good at eating like me. Another self-sabotaging thing is to go and enjoy refeed practice without first meeting all the kind of defense mechanism you need to increase and implement in order to be able to practice and be strong and not going back on your word. You have no idea what it feels to be hungry and love what you used to don't even like to look at, because everything changes when your body changes. Everything. And it's still about the mind, because your body is only listening to your actions and can only do what you do regularly. It's not regular enough to do 2 days on and then one day off. Self-sabotage is to forget before you do your before you do your refeed practice, before you have your moreish food, the ones that are small in volume, high in calories, and tasty. All the stuff it's not going to be a healthy food diet day to have every day, because it's just too many calories and no nutrition, and all calories count because you are fueling your body, you're building it up. So do you want junk or do you want the best? Which is also an irony, but it's also lack of insight, I think, that women who are obsessed about their beauty and the looks and terrified about growing older, how can you want to eat junk that is definitely aging you on the inside and outside? That's really a motivator for me, like I don't want that in my body. It's like, ugh. It's just somehow it just makes my body feel like, it's just disgusting. And that is knowing the flavor. The flavor is delicious. It's not enough for me to want it. There's more than I want, just a flavor that goes away after a minute because of the consequence. I just have too much experience. I mean, this is next year in February 20. It's been 25 years of continuous dedication, never stop working to make myself feel free and without any pullback. I did not want to have a life of fitness that I say I love, and then I have to keep on fighting myself on compliance. Like, no, that's everyone else in this industry who thinks that's just the way, that we always have to struggle being human, and there's always going to be like that. And here I am saying, au contraire, not true. It's just so easy to want to be weak. So easy to kind of like, oh, forget about it. That's self-sabotage in a herd. Because all people love to kind of forget human nature. You don't want to work it because you don't want to know who you are, but then you wonder why you're not getting anything out of it. Because you keep on listening to the same kind of idea, but you don't want to think about it. It's no different than every year around this time, I, as the coach, go and ask about the plan. If you're not working to get results, you usually don't post because you don't have anything to show and you're not proud. So now you're not posting, and then here go the spontaneous impulse snacking, and that is another self-sabotaging. First, before you refeed with kryptonite or your easy to overdo without even realizing, you lose your power around those foods. Before you go and practice with that, you're gonna have to, one, make sure you have all the protein shakes and the servings to meet your calories from there. Make sure you have your 12 cups of vegetables. Make sure you have your 1 cup of raw okra that you can cook. I'm just saying, you need to first fuel up with all the regular foods so you're full, then work on the appetite management. It's the only way you're going to be able to last. You're going to just mess up and break your own commitments too many times. And that's the self-sabotage, to know that if you're not looking out, you are gonna do the same attempt to get over yourself for a few days, then life happens, or injury or sickness or cold, and you just stop. So you're not living and practicing a life that is sustainable, that is real. You're just working it when you're in the mood. That's a mood body result. There's no fitness body that is made on that. Self-sabotage is to have too much interest in wanting to eat what is not healthy at all because you want to play the calories matter. Then I wonder, do you know about the thermic effect and how all that food you want is designed to kind of not make you full and to increase likeliness to store fat because it's designed like that? The whole food is asking your body to store as fat as much as possible, plus make you hungry to go for it again. Increase your likeliness to go back, because what you love to eat and it's delicious and now it's here and it's cheap and nobody's stopping you and you kind of want it, you're used to it. How are you going to stop yourself when you're in a car and every one of your own friends are doing exactly what you've been doing all the time, and now all of a sudden you're not going to do it? What is going to happen? How are you going to be able to do it? There's no change if you just want it more, you don't have a new strategy, and you are not following strategies that are the way to do it. Self-sabotage is to be a victim and pretend that everyone else is more important than you, so you can just let yourself go. Well, if you have kids, they rely on you, they need you, so you might not want a heart attack too soon. It's for them. Self-sabotage is to use your family as a scapegoat for your choices. You're a grown adult woman. You don't need to eat according to the family. Who's in charge? If I was the one who makes food, you bet I wouldn't have my family have a say about what we should eat if it was unhealthy. It would be the candy land. Once, candy nation, candy day once a week. That's that's the kind of culture I grew up in. That's how we want to eat, but then we don't, because we are also eating junk and getting fat there. So trust me, it's not only America. There are calories to make us fat everywhere. It's just have been really kind of put into the blown out of proportion here. Self-sabotage is being cheap and not investing in what you need to do that makes you more likely to achieve, and keep remembering your why. Because then it also shows that you're not really doing what you need to do, because you don't want to admit that you're not as strong and self-independent than you want to be. So you have this kind of ideal in your mind that this is who I want to be. I'm not at all living up to it, but I like the idea. It's no different than a lot of you keep on daydreaming, like one statement. Oh, I missed the way I used to train heavy and hard. And I'm wondering, what do you mean by that? What is it that you really miss? Because I remember the pains and the aches and, kind of a lot of overtraining all the time, but fears of letting go because I was married to the absolute number. Even though I was into building muscle primarily and stay fit, not have absolute strength because it's another kind of training. I kept on wanting to train for strength. So it's like I wasn't even training for max muscle building. And that being, without the special cookies that people take, that's my luxury now, that I just train like an idiot for so long. So I have a lot of potential to reach into. Blessing, you see these guys, that's what I mean. Self-sabotage is not admitting or not understanding that all your experiences are great. That's what they are. You don't have to keep on repeating the past, but that's what you're most likely to be doing unless you make it a real effort and don't let yourself off the hook to work. Work is the way to freedom, and discipline is the way to freedom. And all of that takes training. That's why we have the challenge, why I am the coach. Self-sabotage is being so disappointed with yourself that you kind of just give up, and then you just crawl away to your own and then wait for the next year, and then you come out and you're never leaner. And then here comes the typical story where everyone just saw, like, I thought I knew, but then I learned, like, oh, so the same story you just said the last 10 years. I'm saying this not to shame you. I'm saying it that wow, people, drivers, it's like they look at you when you're walking. Oh crap, there's a pedestrian. Like, yeah, you should look to where you're turning. Always be ready. Self-sabotage is thinking you're maintaining, but you know what you're doing already. You have given up. You're already planning now about how you're going to lose fat later, or how everything is going to be next year, or when you're done with your career, or when you have renovated your library, or when you have your pets are all in perfect condition. I don't know. I'm just saying that you will never get to the actually perfect start. And that is what everyone is trying to find. Like, oh, I have to have the perfect date for the perfect time, for the perfect, everything aligned like the stars. But there is no plan for you to become a fitness star unless you make that happen. So all these ways to self-sabotage, I mean, there's ways to not wanting to be aware of the reality. You want to believe diet culture's lies. You don't want to not go for another fad. You keep on finding things that look so simple, and then you don't want to do it because it's too simple. Then you go for the most extreme things, and that's what you're so excited about because it makes you think, oh, if it's extreme, I have no other choice but to do it. But that is, again, human nature believes so much in bullshit, and it's too tough for a lot of people to have the courage and bravery to look inwards and see, hey, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Can I do it in a different way? Is it even okay to be frustrated and complain about not seeing results? I'm like, but I would never see results if I worked it like you, as in not working it. There's a time where you have to want to be more, because if you don't look up to people or are inspired by people who are sticking to their goals, getting results, feeling amazing, love the results, realize it gets easier and easier because you get to reward yourself, and the hunger isn't forever, it goes in cycles, and it's only a feeling. And why don't you daydream just like you do with regular food porn? Why don't you have that system in the way you are gonna treat yourself? That is my life. I love fighter diet. That's the only thing I eat. And I thought about that. I'm gonna try to not be so politically correct here. I haven't eaten restaurant crap or food from other people. I cook everything. And that's been 4 years. I don't even remember when I had it. So if you consider that, I don't go out and eat. There you go. And I have no interest in going out and eat because it's always going to be so little and not filling, and I have to eat my vegetables anyway. So what am I going to do then? Socialize? Well, I'm a loner. I cannot eat as much as I can in, any restaurant. It would be like a Brazilian steakhouse when you have eat everything, and I don't do that because as much as I love meat and steak and bacon and stuff, I would not have the body and I wouldn't feel this way. And then the blessing in disguise. I got gout, so I cannot just eat any protein foods that have too much of purines, if that's a theory, and I don't know. But I just know that I don't have a flares up and I'm not getting the horrible pain. So I'm just saying, whatever I'm doing works really well. And what works well makes me happy. And when I'm not happy anymore, I know what to do. Just have to spice it up again. A new workout, a new meal. So yesterday night, my heaven in a bowl dessert was with Devotion Nutrition's mocha chocolate chip. Oh, it was a whole other thing. It's just like when you vary from curry to, let's say, sriracha. Check the label. There's usually sugar in it, unless it's wild brine. That's a brand. So if you are now 2 weeks into the FDA and you're not getting up to 6 days of compliance, then you have to reach out to make a plan, because otherwise you are just gonna fall off more, not have a kind of safety net, and now you're gonna be there all alone. And that is when you just gonna go back and do what you know around you. It's gonna be the full going down, and if you made some goals and achieve them, now you're gonna notice how easy it is to kind of have it like you never did it. There's another thing to kind of motivate yourself to not sabotage, is that every time you go on a deficit and then can't keep it up, and then you're gonna have a big increase of calories from junk or wrong kind of food, or if every day or too often you always end up stopping yourself, but you always have the treat or the snack first, the stop is good evolution from not stopping, but now it's not going to be enough level of dedication before you have learned to stop yourself before sabotage has been made. So that's step after that. That's the on your routine. When you notice that you can stop yourself, now start to have that discussion before you eat what you can't uneat, which affects your mood about how you're doing. And if you're not feeling like you're getting anywhere, you're going to be most likely to fall off again. So it's like, it's crazy being a human who relies on having a reward for not doing anything at all. And if you're not getting the reward, you're not happy. But you can't get the reward in body and changing your lifestyle, because it takes you to understand you can't be a privileged little toddler who thinks just because you want it, it's going to be yours. No, you have to grow up and work for it. You have to work for the strong mind to have the strong body. So, time to reflect. What is it that you're not doing? Why are you not doing it? Can you try to make it 6 days in a row? So at least you have some reason to expect to see change. It's really important to understand that it's great that you stop yourself and not do all, but it has to be stronger to stop yourself before. Because if I kept on, oh crap, I ate, that would just be the trend, and my body would have the manifestation of it. I would be fatter, I would not be defined. And the reason why I'm a stickler for my principles, it keeps my life simple. To not have the debate on what is the next step, what is the next step, what should I do now? Like I don't want you to kind of have that diet cultural mentality that everything's going to be so stressy, and every day, every moment is a new decision to make about food and training. What you should do, it's like, it's exhausting. Set your goals, work for it, keep working for it, and when you don't want to do it anymore, have a day off from training. Don't spend it eating everything inside of junk. And if you don't know why you're tired and exhausted, you have to learn to periodize the training and keep on eating the right way. It's so many who are huge on talking about how you love to eat and how you're so disciplined and strict and eating your meals until you don't anymore. Then usually there's a life happens moment, and then you come back. So we gotta stop the whole hiding game, because you're not hiding away from yourself, and you keep on getting so mad. It's like you are destroying your belief in yourself and you do it without even having a fight, because it is what it is, and you just want to be convenient and you just give up. Giving up is why people are never getting lean or strong or healthy. And that's when you just have to think about it. What if you're just happy? What if you actually don't really want to work hard? What if it's better for you to just kind of level your goals to where you are actually able to do it, and you're not getting overwhelmed, and you have to then compromise about what you expect to see? Because even though I know you want it to be so easy to get like a visual result, that comes last. So if you're overweight and working on your one time to get in the range where you later are gonna have the best time of your life, then stay strong on the way you are not being honest with yourself. And then set yourself for goals that you can achieve. Blood pressure, circumference around your stomach. Stop the scale thing, because you keep on talking about how you lose 5 pounds. I'm like, but that's the same pounds over and over every time you get focused. They're recycling pounds. So all the self-sabotages out there, you bet. I'm really happy today because I have not been sabotaging my sleep hygiene this week. I've been listening to the wise meditation, the Buddhist monks. I have this great reader who has the best voice. I love her. She's a nun, and she has a great voice. And I've been doing my stim, so I've had that every day. And I've had my eye mask, my dry eyes. I'm doing that, so my eyes are getting better. I am so proud of myself for doing this and not wanting to kind of forget my sleep hygiene and not do what I need to do to have my hours and not get energized. Like, I'm sabotaging myself when I want it to be easy, or I want to have Seinfeld, or when I'm not a stickler for what I need to do. That's self-sabotage. I don't let myself do it. I mean, I fight myself, and then I start and I do it. And before I start it, I don't first drown myself in Valium, but I used to do it because I didn't know how to. I wanted to have pre-workout and then downers and uppers and downers and uppers. And also remember that my sleep and stuff always goes in cycles through life. When I sleep really well, then I don't, and so on. And it's usually stress related and work and passion and creativity. I'm also a night owl, so I just have made myself into being morning. And another thing that I don't sabotage myself is that, as much as I would love to be able to just have naps and kind of just do what a lot of you guys are doing, you can just fall asleep. I'm like, such a luxury. That is my practice until forever to do. And every day that I practice, I cannot make it into, oh, I made it. This is all over now. And that is why I don't even talk about it with other people, as in person, because to hear the solution for something you have never experienced and you don't understand, it's not just to go and sleep or just try. You don't understand at all. That's like me would say, well, I know you want to eat, but I don't understand, don't you? I mean, how can you want it? Like, I know why you want what you want. I'm just not gonna sell out like everyone else and say, of course you can have it, little darling. Because I just know I'm real and I'm honest. I'm gonna say I would never be able to keep that routine. And then you look up to me and you respect me, so of course I'm not gonna tell you a lie that you can have it without any compromise. I know you think that all the compromises are sacrifices, but sacrifices is a word that you should think about is giving you a sense of everything is worth it. If you didn't have to sacrifice, you would not even want it. And that's where I am now, that I have come to the level where I am so happy with everything that there is no thing that I miss. And I have no problem with maintaining my way of eating. And I'm not even counting my calories. I only do that if I start to noticing that I'm not maintaining the body I like. to have when it comes to fatness or leanness. But I've also learned here that I have my watery, runny nose days where my body does always look like I never even looked at phyto diet. But that is an artificial kind of inflammation and having a cold or a viral infection. And I just know that is how my body looks, and it looks flabby. Doesn't change, the scale, probably lighter too. But it's just the way the body puts its fullness in the muscles versus how much water and so on. And some weeks I'm a little fatter because I've been eating more, and then I'm getting leaner because I'm more stricter. But I'm not making the whole plan different. So there is no on and off. It's a continuation, the flow, just like life. And I love that I love what I eat, and I love what I do, and I'm not holding on to things I used to think I loved. And it all has a chapter. Like I used to love wearing my high heels and dress up and get all the kind of, admirers. I love men. I love the attention. I love that I could pretty much, have anyone I want. But that gets boring because again, if I can have it all, what is the reason to desire it? That is what you end up in Fight Nirvana, that the desires you want are the ones that reward you. And the ones you don't, you know how to stay strong. And you know that everything you feel is going to fluctuate, it's not going to stay. But your result and your dream and your lifestyle remains. So how much you want to be that is going to dictate the level you can put yourself through dedication. There's no way around it. And here's where I just want you to know that you don't have to. You don't have to work hard for fitness. There's no guarantee anyway. There's no trophy for you to have that if you work this hard, you're going to be able to have this or that. Nothing. There's just the hoping for the best, do the best, and be happy and grateful. That's what you have to come into, and stop the whole, why didn't I start this? Why didn't I? All the kind of talk about how you didn't do this in the past, but you can't change that. You don't have to. So again, sometimes you just have to ask, why are you having a fight about what you don't want to do, that you signed up for, that you say is so important, and it's all you want? That is when you have felt that you let yourself go a little too strong, and now you have to kind of get it back. You are going to be more motivated if you first got fit and then lost it all in front of you because you just lost your power over yourself. It's going to have such a destructive effect on you, because that will then have doubts next time that you're not going to stay strong because you knew you quit last time. That is now the new behavior you are allowing to kind of sit in. You are wired naturally to be easy to get destructive and very hard to be positive and happy. Just look at all the 10 commandments, how we are struggling with staying true to them. We don't have the commandments in fitness life, except for there's a reason why you don't see fitness people who are eating fast food at junk food places unless they're right after a competition and they eat everything in sight, which I feel is completely cheat day mentality, because they're going to go on a fat loss diet right after, so they're never going to be able to maintain. They just pretend. And then everyone fattens up, even though you promised at the professional level you're never going to do it again. And then it's always the body's blame that it became too extreme. Yeah, it was the body. No, it's the mind. It's always the mind. And that is what we blame our bodies for everything we do. Me, I did it. Never again. Now my body is my perfect place to get lessons every day that I need and that everyone else need. So that's how I see it. From now on, FD8 Academy is in the FD8 challenge, not anymore in the free domain. It's not a Google video, it's my Facebook Live, so I have a way of having a variety of timing so I can meet and check in with as many clients as I can. So go and sign up for that. Early bird, October 1 is the end for that 50% off. After that, full price. And I must say, I know what I'm doing and the way I do it, and I say it's definitely a great investment for you. And doing it alone, if that is a plan, during holiday season, because you can't train or eat the way you want anyway, that is the worst kind of all or nothing, right overt in your face, and you don't know that that's how a quarter of your life you're gonna work on getting not healthy, not fitter, not lean, and not even trying to keep some healthy routines in it. But you have the choice. That's what I mean. Give yourself freedom to be as unfit, unshaped as you want. It's okay. But how is that going to make you happy? That's what I mean. Sometimes you have all the freedom. You can do whatever you want. There's nobody telling you what you have to do, but you are signing up for it. But if you're going to fight about what you are wanting to do, and I mean, that is not what you want. So I think then it's good to just find a new hobby. Stop beating yourself up for what you don't want to do. It's no different than I don't beat myself up for not having a family because I don't want to have one. Oh, I forgot to put it here.